The concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series comes to a conclusion here tonight. The regular season, that is, here in the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Here tonight on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network, it's myself, William Tiller, joined special for here tonight by Mr. Huck Whittington, and Dean Hopton will be the man providing all the sights and sounds of tonight's race. This is the DSR Electric 200. Huck, we have a special driver commentator up here in the booth. How you doing, my man? And welcome up here to a different side of the race.
Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, this is going to be fun. This is definitely a different side of the racetrack for me, but I think I can handle it.
And for the folks at home, this is a old school track, Atlanta. You know better than anybody else. What are the folks in store for here tonight as far as racing action?
Yeah, so since it's been reconfigured, this has really turned into more of what they call like a plate track, quote unquote, a super speedway. A lot of drafting, a lot of pack racing. Daytona, Talladega style kind of racing. The good thing about it is eventually you're going to have some tire wear, and so it's not going to be exactly like the Daytona, Talladega type racing, but it's going to be awful close. So you're going to see them two wide, three wide, bumper to bumper, and more than likely there's going to be a big one.
Absolutely, as currently Chris Blanchard stands on top of the scoring pylon with a 32.056, and that's going to be erased by one of the guys who's been a favorite all season long. Jeff Merck will now take that top spot. We take a look at those point standings. Keith Bradley, of course, with 4 wins. Jeff Merck with those 3 wins. And then, Huck, you've raced in this series. You know all these guys. You've rubbed some elbows. It's sort of an open door after the Animal and Jeff Merck up, after there. Actually, Dodson has a win. Joey Doucette has a win. When you take a look at these point standings, you see yourself there in that 24th position. This is the cutoff point here for the top 20. What are some of these names that jump out to you?
Jose, I'm really shocked that Jose's kind of down there, but he's actually won at a super speedway. I believe it was Talladega with NASCAR. I'm not sure if it was Friday night or Monday night, but I remember when he did it. So he can get it done at these types of tracks. He's pretty aggressive, and sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah, I'm also looking at the lights. Zach Hartwick's good right there for the BP for Racing for Autism Stable. Robbie Richards, Taylor Peacock, Adam Newton. Some of these guys, Huck, you've raced with them. They've really knocked on the door of victories. You finished inside of the top 5 here this season. Some of these guys just knocking on the door. Do you think we're going to see a first-time winner in this race?
Probably not. I'll put it this way: it wouldn't completely shock me, but I mean, there's a reason these guys are up there in the top. These guys are really, really good. I found that out when I joined this league 2 or 3 seasons ago. I think 3 seasons ago. I jumped off in the deep end with these guys. They're really, really good, and there's a reason they're up there. We're talking from Bradley on the way back to probably the top at least 8. And Hartwick has done real good. I've been really impressed with what he's done lately. Seems like he's got his tires under him finally. So it wouldn't shock me if he didn't have a real good run tonight also.
Absolutely, as it looks like the field is set here tonight for the DSR Electric 200. Let's take a look at the official starting lineup in today's regular season finale. Rolling off in that pole position, we're going to have Jeff Merck in that 60. Second position, we're going to have Chris Blanchard in that 9. Third, Chris Cinnamon in that 3, making his return here tonight. Huck, watch out for that 3 machine. Jose Luis Rivera will roll off 4th. Zach Hartwick 5th. Ed Osborne 6th here tonight. Eric Zimmerman 7th. Ashley Dotson 8th. Justin Lumpkin 9th. And rounding out our top 10 is Brandon Broadfoot. As it looks like there is a late entry to the qualifying session here. Huck, hold the phone. It looks like Phil Pappas in that 85 will take a stab at the qualifying session here, preferring that high line here at Atlanta. Sometimes, Huck, you take your time, you watch everybody else run their lines, you might be able to put yourself on that top pole position. Let's see where that 85 lands here after this run. Now, are you going to see that during this race here tonight, Huck, that little that low side, high side transition?
Probably, again, this is going to be pack racing. He's got really his choice of where he wants to run right now. But when we get to the pack racing, especially with this group, it's just going to be, where you can kind of find your room. But the try over here at Atlanta, she's going to be hungry tonight. I get a strange feeling that's where a lot of our problems are going to be. It always is.
Let's see where the 85 ends up on that scoring pylon. Currently registered 17th. Let's see if he can better that here on the second lap. He's down the backstretch here at Atlanta.
It's good to see him back. I know he had a wind. I can't remember when. You'd think I would since I was racing that night. And then he just kind of, I guess he had some other things that took precedent, so he couldn't race with us anymore. So it's good to see the 85 back.
See if he betters that first lap around. Phil Pappas will lock in that 17th position here on that starting grid. Well, let's see, we still have Dan Hagan out on the track. Looks like though he's locked in his spot. Kyle Hess out there now as well. Late entries to this qualifying session. See Kyle Hess also for that BP Racing for Autism stable.
A lot of the late entries are probably guys just waiting to see what the track does. A lot of times you try to see if it'll cool down, give you just a little bit more grip, give you a little bit more edge on your qualifying run.
James D. Morris there in that 84, currently down that backstretch. He's currently in that 19th position. Raul Meza also taking the run. Actually, no, not in the 19th position. Check that 9th position there for the James D. Morris squad. Good run so far out of him. We'll watch now here, as it looks like, though, that will wrap up the qualifying session, Huck, as Jeff Merck will take home that pole position. Chris Blanchard will roll off second. Chris Cinnamon third in his return. Jose Luis Rivera fourth. Zach Hartwick fifth. Ed Osborne sixth. Eric Zimmerman seventh. Ashley Dawson eighth. James D. Morris ninth. And rounding out that top 10, Justin Lumpkin. In the 11th position, we have Brandon Broadfoot. 12th is the Joker, Joey Doucette. 13th, Stephen Thomas in that 23. Jake Reeves, a broadcaster up here in the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. He'll roll off 14th. 15th position is going to have Jacob Klinkard. 16th, Adam Newton, that DSR electric machine. 17th position is going to be Cody Knott. 18th, Phil Pappas in that 85. 19th is going to be the 37 of Raul Meza. And rounding out our top 20 is Dan Hagan in that 39. In the 21st position, we have Kyle Hess. 22nd, Hunter Parsons. 23rd, Robbie Richards. 24th, Brendan Bullock. 25th, Stephen Gregory. Michael McKinnon will roll off 26th. And rounding out our starting lineup here tonight is Adam Johnson. And Huck, looking at that starting lineup, who jumps out to you here tonight at Atlanta?
Again, I think Jose's going to do well. It's good to see Cinnamon up there. He's a good plate racer. Joey Doucette's racing tonight, and I think he has a lot to win for tonight.
Absolutely, Huck. And here at the Nazareth family, here at the Nazareth 360 Racing Network, we sustained a significant loss, Huck. A family member of ours here at Nazareth, Mr. Joey Doucette himself, unfortunately lost his mom this past week. There's unfortunately, in that sense of insurmountable loss, Huck, there's a lot of things that come with that. Unfortunately, there are memorial services, things as such that come with that. We do have that wonderful 16 strong QR code down here in the corner. If you could donate to the Joey Doucette and his family during this hard time. But Huck, during this race here at the DSR Electric 200 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the regular season finale, as the field exits pit road, we're going to go ahead and observe a moment of silence before the drop of the green flag for Joey Doucette and his family, but also in memory for Robin Doucette. Right. As we come back on the air here on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network, once again, we want to send all of our prayers, well wishes to Joey Doucette and his family in this hard time. I know it is going to be tough. Green flag is in the air here in the DSR Electric 200 as Chris Cinnamon leads us into the first corner.
Yeah, and it's pretty much like we figured it was going to be. They're going to start off door to door, going into the first and second corners. They're just going to get up to speed here, and we're just probably going to get some guys that are going to catch up on that outside line here rather quick.
Chris Blanchard trying to hold down that top side lane, being pushed along early. Chris Blanchard will lead the first lap here in the DSR Electric 200 as we go down into one. Chris Simmons still on that low side of the racetrack. Looks as though we're uncomfortable on the top side, though. Jose Luis Rivera now being pushed along by Chris Cinnamon in that 3. They're side by side off a 2.
It looked like Jose was giving the 9 some pretty good pushes right there, so that's good for him.
To ride on board here, I believe this is Zach Hartwick in that 12. He has a courtside seat for the battle for a second. Jose Luis Rivera on that top side, Chris Cinnamon on that low side heading into the corner. We're going to see this all night long, Huck. This low side, high side battle is now. Jose is stuck on that high side. He has no help. Zach Hartwick will take that opportunity as he goes low for the third spot.
Yeah, a lot of times staying on the low side is where folks want to be at the wash up. So you kind of feel like your safer spot early at the beginning of these races is kind of low. You can't feel out your truck and feel out the rest of the guys.
As Blanchard continues to lead here at Atlanta, Chris Cinnamon in that second spot off of 2. Zach Hartwick trailing in that third position. And I got to say, Huck, you've raced with these guys. Chris Blanchard, though, has built up a run the last couple weeks of great finishes. You know, really coming here from the start of the regular season. Hasn't had the best of runs, though. Now finds himself locked into that top 20 as we enter into those playoff races. Doing pretty good now, leading the way here at Atlanta.
He's good at these types of races. Looking at the season standings now, I think I show him in 22nd, but mine may be off a little bit, but he's not too far out.
So this is the opportunity here, Huck, here in this first stage. You got to get some stage points. Try to move through into that top 20. Needs as many points as he can get. If he's on the outside looking in, we only take the top 20 into the playoffs, but he leads here at Atlanta into 1.
Yeah, that's really it's really odd. I actually see some lap trucks already. I'm not sure if something happened that we didn't pick up on, but they're already catching up to some, at least, 3 of them?
Yeah, it does look like we're creeping up on a pack, about 3 trucks here. Let's check in to see who that is very early on in this race, as you mentioned there, Huck. And we'll talk about the stages here. Stage number 1 will conclude on lap 35. Stage number 2, lap 75. Total laps here tonight, 144 sets of tires in tonight's race. 0 fast repairs. That's my absolute favorite rule here at Nazareth. Huck, looking at all the details, looking at the racers setup, you're a driver yourself. What's going to be the most important factor in this race? We know we love green flag pit stops here at Nazareth, but is there anything else that the folks should be watching out for?
Just staying out of trouble, because like I said, usually when there's one wreck, it collects a whole bunch of trucks in these types of races. So the idea is to just stay clean and just watch where you are. I think these 3 trucks may have had a penalty from the last race is what probably happened, and they may have had to do a drive-through or some sort of a penalty catch-up like that, and that's why they ended up that way.
The battle at Atlanta continues. Chris Blanchard will go on the high side of the racetrack, get through this pack of lapped cars. And let's take a look at those penalties from last week, as Chris Blanchard, though, still takes us on the high side down the backstretch. Adam Johnson, that 0-2, had to serve no qualifying plus a pass-through on lap number 1 under green flag conditions. Michael McKinnon, no qualifying plus an EOL on the starting grid. Jonathan Munda, same thing. Hunter Parsons, no qualifying plus a pass-through on lap 1 under green flag conditions, and he's on a 5-race probation. Robbie Richardson, that 48, No qualifying plus an EOL on the starting grid. And Jeff Merck, he's on a 4-race probation as well as the battle continues off of 2 down the backstretch here at Atlanta.
It looks like Michael McKinnon's actually starting to pick up with the group here. He's like gained excuse me, gained 12 positions. So Mike's a good racer. Mike's one of the veterans of this league, and he helps out a lot of people. So he knows what he's doing out here.
And I just saw him voted as the driver's favorite commentator here at the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. So it is a special occurrence when we get Mike up here in the booth doing incredible in that truck, in that 13 machine. And I got to say, Huck, he's also one of those drivers that's been putting forth some great efforts here lately. Some top 10s in the mix, some top 15s. Watch out for the 13 here tonight as well, already showing some early speed.
Yeah, right now, I think he sits 14th in the standings, so he's well above the 20th place. I think he's pretty much got himself locked in.
As we're down the backstretch here at Atlanta, Chris Blanchard takes us into 3 and 4. He's being pushed along by Chris Cinnamon in that 3. Field comes scorching by us here. I love this go for Cam Huck as we're off of 4. As we almost have a driver scraping that top side. Whoa, that looks as though that could be one of those lap trucks getting close and friendly as we're almost 3 wide, Huck into the corner.
Yeah, I think that's Merrick. Yeah, he's got pretty good truck control, and he may be doing that on purpose just to kind of get out of the mix, get out of everybody's way.
He does look pretty uncomfortable in that position. You saw him sort of wiggle against that top side wall. Now finds himself at the tail end here. Definitely a late race driver, Huck. You just alluded to it. And he must know what he's doing this season with 3 wins. Oh no, driver loose! Driver sideways on the front stretch. That is the 10 machine of Brandon Broadfoot. Goes sideways across the infield grass on the front stretch. It is green flag racing though, Huck.
I guess
that's going to hurt nobody but Brandon's feelings there in that instant.
Stayed out of the truck's way, so there wasn't a caution thrown. Yeah, it's going to be a big one for him. He's going to go a couple laps down quick.
Check it out right there. And that happened so fast, Huck. And there's not really anything Brandon can do in that situation. Once you feel that first contact, now you're trying to regain control of that truck. And you're just playing pinball in that instance. You take that second contact, now you're completely out of control.
Or actually pretty lucky that's all that was, because that could have been half the field right there swinging up in front of him.
But look at this battle we have now at the top side of the grid. We have Chris Blanchard, Chris Cinnamon, Joey Doucette, Zach Hartwick, all 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 on the racetrack. Look at that 25 machine on the top side, looking good up there. That 3 also up there. That's Chris Cinnamon pushing along. I believe that's a lap truck on the top side of the grid there, Huck. Yes, that's Hunter Parsons in the 25.
Yeah, that's Hunter. Hunter was one of the ones that I believe had to do in the drive-through. So Hunter's real good at these types of racetracks. So what he's going to try to do is just stay in front of him. He didn't want to lose his lap, or didn't want to have to be the well, there he goes around.
Oh no! As the 25 machine of Hunter Parsons gets completely sideways, makes contact with Jose Luis Rivera. Raul Meza is going to be collecting this as well. Big pile up here. We were just mentioning how the 25 was racing on the top side of the grid. He was holding it down there, Huck, and I was just about to allude to what the 69 of Tim Hammond did in our Monday night series. He rode up there as a lap truck, was able to hold it down with the leaders. Let's watch it here and what happens on this replay.
Just pushing into the corner, and who knows if Hunter was already loose or just wobbled enough. And, the 9's just doing what he's got to do also. It's pretty unfortunate right there, because now it's collecting Mike and Brandon. A lot of good cars.
Oh. You see that Surf Pro machine of Raul Meza. He's going to take some impact there. And that's tough. But, Huck, you talked about it here at this racetrack. We're going to see things like that. You're going to see some intense racing. It's just what this track's going to provide for us.
it's just the way you race it. I mean, that's if you don't, you go a lap down, and then you're just in struggle mode the whole rest of the night. So yeah, if we go back and see his hands, I could probably tell you what was going on. Yeah, so he's going in the corner, and then he just got pushed around. Probably a little too hard for pushing at that point on the racetrack on the corner. You know, they say you never push into the corner, and that's kind of one of the things that you try not to do. But again, it's just the way these races end up playing out. So
No, exactly. And in some instances, Huck, you have to do that. If you're trying to hold it down, you're trying to get a guy to come with you there. That instance, the 25 machine, we watched that onboard camera. Once he's loose, there's nothing you can do, Huck, especially when you're the guy leading the race. You get loose like that, you just try to hold on and hope you don't make contact with any other trucks.
and you got to remember, you know, Blanchard's what I say. He's like 22nd, 21st, 22nd in points. So he's going to do everything he can do to win this stage, to get him some stage points. So, you know, he's not out there to just let Hunter stay in his way.
As we're under our first on-track caution of the night, we'll ride on board with a driver who's absolutely been itching to get back inside of the truck, and that's the 57 of Jake Reeves, a colleague up here in the booth with me, Huck, usually the guy that's calling this awesome Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series action. They allowed him to get in the truck here tonight, Huck, and when he does, he usually puts forth a great show. Now up to second in this race, up 12 spots since the drop of the green flag. What do you think his chances are here to go from broadcast booth to victory lane?
Well, isn't there such a thing as the broadcaster's curse?
There sure is. Commentator's curse.
Yeah, that too. Tell you what, Jacob, he and I have basically traded spots. And I do recall one race he had mentioned me, and it took me about, because I was watching the replay, and it took me about a lap and a half before I got sent around. So I'm not going to say anything about Jacob. I'm just going to let him putt around the track, and we'll just see what happens.
Absolutely, as he's going to start on the outside of that front row here. Let's check out who will ride off on this restart. Chris Blanchard will start off first, Jake Reeves second, Zach Hartwick third, Michael McKinnon fourth, Joey Doucette fifth, Ed Osborne sixth, Ashley Dotson seventh, Stephen Thomas eighth, Adam Newton ninth, and James D. Morris 10th. As they come roaring across that start-finish line, Chris Blanchard takes the green flag into one.
Yeah, it'll take them just a little bit to get wound up, and then they'll get down into the backstretch here, and we'll actually see if any of these trucks that had contact, if it really, really made any significant impacts on the speed of their truck. And I'm really curious about the 13 with McKinnon, because he looked like he hit pretty hard.
You see the 9 machine of Chris Blanchard leading the way out of 3 and 4. Here comes Joey Doucette there in that second spot. Zach Hartwick in that 12. The 16 pulls off to the outside as we're one lap under green. Joey Doucette will try to battle it out with Chris Blanchard. He's side by side with the 9 into 1 and 2 as the 12 of Hartwick behind him. Ashley Dawson in that 88 will ride on board with that 88 down the backstretch.
It looks like, you know, I can't really tell a whole lot in this view other than the fact that the arrow is still playing a big part of it. You can see the driver's hands. I mean, you're doing everything you can do.
And Joey there finds himself in the middle lane here off of 2. Wisely follows back up to the top with his pushing buddy Zach Hartwick in that 12, who had a very good qualifying time. Ashley Dawson, that 88 on the low side as well. He's gotten hot when it matters here this season, Huck, in this regular season finale, as the 88 got a little loose off of 4. As we head into 1 and 2, one thing that I love to mention here on these broadcasts, Hug, and I love that you have the driver point of view here as the 16 keeps getting to the middle of the racetrack. How difficult is a tri-oval on a speedway?
It really depends on the baking, how wide it is, and the speedway itself. When they reconfigured Atlanta, I think everybody thought that the trioval was going to probably hold a little bit better. For me, it doesn't. You can be completely off the gas on the trioval here at Atlanta, just to stay low. And that's kind of different from most of your other super speedways.
Yeah, and I like to look at essentially Charlotte too. Charlotte has that weird tri-oval where you have to come off of 4 and sort of adjust your wheel just a little bit as well. It's that little extra motion that can throw drivers off.
And it's there that you probably could lose some of your tire. And that's, again, most of your super speedways, Talladega, Daytona, you don't have a lot of tire wear. Actually, I think I've gone whole races and only changed tires once, and that was just because I was already in the pits getting gas anyway. But Atlanta, you can wear out the tires, and it's mostly from the tri-oval.
As the field comes thundering down the backstretch here in Atlanta, now into 3 and 4. Chris Blanchard on the low side, Joey Doucette on the top side of the racetrack. Let's look inside of that top 10. You talked about the 13 machine of Michael McKinnon. He's up now to 7th of 19 spots. It's the drop of the green flag. We are very, very airtight for positions, and you see them right here, Huck. Essentially the top 7, top 8 trucks in this race all together here down the backstretch.
Yeah, I guess Michael's truck ended up not really taking a whole lot of damage. Now he's in the, of course I say this, now he's getting put 3 wide. I've done it, haven't I?
Ooh, it's still going, Huck, as we are popping a wheelie down the front stretch here. We're 3 wide at Atlanta into 1 and 2. Does this continue? We still know we have a truck on the outside, just hasn't appeared yet. As we're still down the backstretch here, Huck, Stephen Thomas on the low side of the racetrack, Michael McKinnon in that 13. It looks like, though, it has cleared up. Jake Reeves in that 57 ahead of this battle.
Yeah, and Mike may be in one of those positions where the front end is damaged to where he's okay in a draft, with a car in front of him and a car behind him, but it still gets him just a little bit squirrely when someone's to his side. And we got a caution somewhere. Okay.
Caution is out on the racetrack here.
Probably our stage caution. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't look at our stages tonight. I probably should have done that before I jumped in the booth.
That's interesting because it says that the stage would end on lap 35. Would be an early stage here. As we look at Chris Blanchard,
I see smoke. I saw the sim producing some smoke. Sometimes it'll do that after a wreck, and it'll stay like the rest of the race for some strange reason. So I'm not sure if it was stage or something happened that brought it out.
We'll get that information to you folks at home as Chris Blanchard still leads the way. Joey Doucette in that 16. And I believe Huck will have that answer if any of these drivers elect to head down pit road, as usually most of these guys like to experiment in the first stage. They head down in that first wave of pit stops. Second stage, you sort of know what your truck's like. You use that second stage as a pit stop, and Huck. Then it's essentially most of these races here in the Concerns of Police Survivors have come down to those green flag pit stops at the end.
Man, it always does. And that's one of my biggest, well, I wouldn't say complaints, but that's one of the biggest problems I've had. These guys wreck when I don't pit, or when I do pit, they don't wreck. It's kind of one of those things. The green flag pit stops will make you or break you at these tracks. So you have to hit it right, and you have to kind of get lucky, too. Blanchard has a tendency to stay out a whole lot, to run some tires.
It looked like he did stay out.
Yeah, so this may be, I think he may be just making sure that this is the end of the stage so he gets his stage points. If it wasn't the stage caution that brought it out, if it was something else. I
Let me
wouldn't
look
be
here.
surprised if some of the guys come in here and just take two at this point. Heck, some of them may not even take any and just save a set for later on down the road. You don't typically have to too bad here, worry about it. But like I said, you can wear them out more than you do at Daytona and Talladega.
Absolutely, as the pace truck lights will continue to be on as we're down the front stretch here. And Huck, unfortunately, I mentioned it as we took the track here tonight, but the Nazareth family members of ours suffered an insurmountable loss this past week. If you take a look at not only the 16 machine of Joey Doucette, but also the 12 machine of Zach Hartwick, the 25, 100 Parsons, and I'm sure there are numerous others that are paying tribute to Robin Doucette, Joey Doucette's mom, who unfortunately passed away this past week. And folks, with that insurmountable loss comes with a lot of things, Huck. And folks, if you see the QR code on our screen here, you'll see that 16 strong. Go ahead and scan that with your phone. That'll give you all the information you need to help Joey Doucette and his family throughout this hard time. And Huck, we're all 16 strong right here at Nazareth.
Yeah, Joey's been just super awesome to me, and it breaks my heart to hear that. He's very close to his mom, and we all are, I suppose. But I mean, there was this little bit more of for me, a special connection between the two, and he's been trying to help her for a real long time. She's been a little ill. Oh yeah, it's a really bad deal for him.
As you see the decal on the back of the 12 machine of Zach Hartwick, you'll see it both on the top of the windshields of these drivers here tonight. The name of Robin Doucette, always in our thoughts, always in our prayers, was watching the 16 machine pulling along. He's been racing inspired these past few weeks, racing inspired here tonight as he's going to lead us to the drop of the green flag. And this race continues here in the DSR Electric 200 as Joey Doucette takes us into one.
What'd you say the caution brakes were?
35.
Okay, so that was probably an on-track incident that just didn't get caught that brought out the caution, and they all stayed out to maintain their track position for the stage points.
Yeah, because you can see right now they're frantic off of two, already jockeying for position as the 16 machine of Joey Doucette will get a big push out of the 88. Slides up the racetrack just a little bit. You see Adam Newton in this fight as well. Chris Blanchard on the low side. As we come off of 4 here, Huck, we're side by side across the start-finish line.
And if I was Chris, I get the idea, or if I was the 9, I get the idea of wanting to win it, but he's so close. Just any stage points would work, and I wouldn't risk wrecking myself out for like just 1 extra or 2 extra stage points. I would just run it out where he is on the bottom and let it happen.
And you see this wonderful shot inside of the cockpit. Awesome shot of Ashley Dotson there in the 88. The 12 machine of Zach Hartwick riding on board with the DSR Electric man of Adam Newton, as this is the last lap in stage number 1 as Chris Blanchard on the low side of the racetrack just trying to get a big push out of Zach Hartwick in that 12, but it's still Joey Doucette on that top side being pushed along down the backstretch.
Yeah, I see 88, he's one of our recent winners, and he's actually come on pretty strong here the last couple of weeks. It wouldn't shock me if he doesn't have a really great run tonight.
So it looks like Chris Blanchard will get the stage as they wreck.
Oh.
Oh no! As they wreck coming across the start-finish line to end the stage. Chris Blanchard, Joey Doucette. What did we just witness, Huck? Wow.
I'm not sure. We'll have to go back and look at it.
Just as they completed the stage, the yellow flag flew. You see Ed Osborne there as well in the 42 on your screen. That is
those stage points, man. Sometimes those things, you need them so bad at some point, but you got to really weigh the risk. And it looks like the 88 got into the 16.
Yeah, and what's completely unfortunate about this, Huck, is that the stage was over. The yellow flag was out. The lights were flashing. And essentially, these
We'll have
trucks
to
were
see what the
pulling
start
down into the
finish line
corner.
is, actually.
Yeah, stage
Yeah,
ended right
yep.
there when they crossed the line.
I wonder if Joey let out and Ashley just wasn't ready for it. And sometimes that does happen, but you can't do that. You have to be ready when the stage is over because it didn't look like it was anything abrupt. I bet Ashley's going to feel terrible over that.
And then Blanchard as well in the 9. He's going to take heavy damage. He was racing a fantastic race here tonight as well. Man, what an ending to that first stage. Huck, I was going to say it's been a very clean race, very competitive. We've seen a lot of battles for position, that side-by-side racing, as you alluded to, as some drivers will take that stage 1 pit stop. But I think we can sort of throw that all out the window now, as we're going to have some new race leaders with Joey Doucette, Chris Blanchard out of this race. And that's going to open the door now. We have Adam Newton leading the way, Jake Reeves, Stephen Thomas. Going to be some new names here in stage number 2.
You know who I noticed got through there, and I probably shouldn't say this because he'll be mad at me if something bad happens. The 13, Michael got through there again, and this is going to give him a chance to get in the pits and fix any damage he may have to kind of strengthen that car up. Well, so we'll see how he goes. I really kind of have my eye on him tonight.
As the 13 machine will come off a pit road here in the DSR Electric 200. We are live from Atlanta Motor Speedway. This is the regular season finale. Huck, I cannot believe it that we've made it to this stage. It's the very first year that the Concerns of Police Survivors organization has joined us along. And as we've reached the regular season finale, it is a battle for the regular season championship between Keith Bradley and Jeff Merck, depending on how this race plays out. And Huck, we're going to take our top 20 into the next round. We see your name on this list as well, but of course you're joining us up here in the broadcast booth. Look at the race
I
so
am all
far.
but out.
Could there be some upsets? Are we looking at Brandon Bullock, maybe Chris Blanchard now out of this race, unfortunately. Phil Pappas in the 85.
Yep.
Could any of these guys on the outside looking in maybe pull off the upset?
Yes. The 17, Brandon's pretty good plate racer too. And I say plate racer, that's just because I'm an old guy and that's what we called these from way, way back. But yeah, you could, especially the way things have kind of played themselves out now, because some of the faster cars, some of the more experienced guys as far as these types of tracks, they're done.
Absolutely. As the 17 truck finds himself in a good position here on this restart, just outside of that top 10, lingering inside there. But let's check it out as this restart begins. It will be the DSR Electric Man of Adam Newton. Beside him, Jake Reeves, and that 57 green flag in the air, back in the A, into 1.
Yeah, Newton's had some snake bit issues these last few races, so I'm sure he would like to get things cleaned up and at least finish just a top 5 would probably make him feel better.
As the 82 takes us down the backstretch, Stephen Thomas in that 23 right there as well. Jake Reeves, you see him all by himself on the top side of the racetrack. Adam Newton doing pretty good here tonight in that 82 DSR Electric machine. Off of 4. He is, though, feeling the pressure as you see that 23 is Stephen Thomas as we're 1 lap under green into 1, Huck. Stephen Thomas not comfortable in that second spot.
Thomas is never comfortable in second, that's for sure. But that's okay. That's okay. He's a good racer. He likes to win. He can be aggressive, but most of the time he's got a good head on his shoulders, and I really have enjoyed racing with him these last few seasons.
As you see this battle continue, Adam Newton takes us off of 4. Down this front stretch at Atlanta, the top 4 now. That is a beautiful shot here on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network as the top 4 take us into 1 and 2. Very, very quiet on this restart, Huck, as Stephen Thomas will push Adam Newton down that backstretch. And you just alluded to it. What have been your thoughts about this season as we are in this regular season finale? What are your thoughts of the first year of the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series?
It's been pretty eventful. The schedule was, well, for me, and I can only speak for me, the schedule was a little more difficult than probably what I wanted. And that's fine because you run around on just fumes or something like that, it's hard to get learn, and that's what I probably should have been doing anyway. But yeah, these guys have done really, really well. Concerns of Police Survivors, I actually kind of helped bring them in, and they've just been thrilled to death to be part of this.
That is absolutely correct there, Huck, and bringing that organization here in the very first year. We say it every race here. We are honored and thrilled to have them on board. We'll talk about them here in just a little while, the next caution flag we get. But here comes the man himself, Jake Reeves, getting a huge push on the top side of the racetrack. Like I said, trying to go from broadcast booth to victory lane as he's being pushed along by Robbie Richards in that 48 into 1.
Outside's starting to work. That's always kind of been a problem here, just because it doesn't seem like you have as much room to work, so you're a little more shy of the wall, so you may feather the throttle a little bit more coming out of the corners. But it looks like it's starting to work a little bit.
Riding on board the 57 machine of Jake Reeves, top side of the racetrack off of 444 laps into this race. He's smooth so far. You talk about feathering that throttle. Now into 1 and 2. He is on the top side now for second with Stephen Thomas. There is a break, though. That gap, you see it. Stephen Thomas in that 23 as he's pushing the 82 along down this backstretch. It leaves Justin Lumpkin in the 18, but he'll catch that slipstream, that draft coming off the 23. It's going to push the 18 just a little bit closer. But here comes Jacob Klinkert, going to make it 3 wide for 4th.
Yeah, he definitely found some speed in there, and I'm not sure what happened on the outside, but I think Robbie, looked like Robbie probably didn't get to Jacob as much as Jacob wanted, and Jacob was trying to bleed back to him so he could get the push, and the 5 just took advantage of it.
And contrary to popular belief, Huck, these trucks don't have horns. They don't have headlights. You can't signal to somebody that you're coming in the middle and you're going to split those two guys and that you have uncontrollable speed on a run for the 5 machine of Jacob Klinkert. He just had to let him know, hey, guys, I got to run. You better move out of my way. And right now, he's trying to lead a charge on the top side.
Sometimes if you don't take the run, or you let off, or do something a little bit different than what the truck wants you to do, you can cause yourself more problems and the people behind you more problems.
It's now Klinkert in that 5, being pushed along by Jake Reeves in the 57, door to door with the 82 of Adam Newton across the tri-oval here at Atlanta. 48 laps into this race, folks. It's been a very eventful first stage as Chris Blanchard and Joey Doucette were 1-2 across the line to end the stage, but unfortunately heading into corner number 1, collected one another. They are both out of this race. As the field heads into 3 and 4, we're still side by side for the race lead. As we're side by side across that tri-oval, unfortunately for the 9 machine of Chris Blanchard and the 16 of Joey Doucette, both out of this race after an unfortunate incident at the drop of the yellow flag at the end of stage 1. They were cooling down, essentially, Huck, entering into the corner. They collected one another, both out of this race. Very early favorites in this race, now out of this race early on.
Yeah, well, that definitely opens the field up to see what we're going to get in the next couple of stages. I hope people, and there's a lot of communication on the track that people do not hear between drivers, and I'm sure people were aware of what happened. And maybe and hopefully people will understand what's going on at the stage break, so people will be ready to let out of the gas, be more aware.
Yeah, and as we were just watching the field head down the backstretch, there's a 23 machine, very, very aggressive on that gas pedal, gave the 82 a huge shift down the backstretch there. The 82, though, sort of liked it a little bit there, Huck. You see him moving along now in the race lead. Jacob Klinkert trying to hold on to the top spot as he's being pushed along by Jake Reeves there down the backstretch. Adam Newton, though, how long can he take being pushed from Stephen Thomas in that 23? All that's going to start to add up here, Huck, as we're off of 4.
As long as, he's getting hit square, and as long as it's going to be on the straightaway, He's probably wanting it, actually. It gives you such a boost. It gives you, and that's why they call it, a bump draft. The bump itself just gives you such a boost. It pushes you forward, and it's really almost what you have to have at these tracks if you want to stay up front.
As we watch the 5 of Jacob Klinkart take us off of 4. And I listened to a great take last night here in the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. I was listening along to Jake Reeves and Dean Hopton in that broadcast, and one of the awesome questions they had was, do you want to be the person chasing, or do you want to be the person chased in a race? And Huck, I'll ask you that same question here as we come off the corner. In this circumstance, Atlanta, do you want to be essentially the 5 machine here where everybody's chasing you, or do you want to be in the position of the 82, Adam Newton, where you're chasing the 5?
For me, it would depend upon where we're at in the race itself. Right here, I have no problem with being first. But when we're coming down to the last lap, you're a sitting duck for something aggressive to happen, and you really don't feel like letting out. So you're going to drive it just as aggressive as they're driving you, and that's when you have a higher chance of something happening to you. Right now, I'd be fine either way.
As it looks like Jacob Klinkart in the 5, he prefers to be the chase as he is clearing off in that lead position, not feeling any pressure right now. As Adam Newton pretty comfortable there in that second spot as Jake Reeves with a huge run through the tri-oval. If Zach Hartwick in that 12 can get to that back bumper, they might have something going there on the top side of the racetrack. And race it down to lap 75 here in stage number 2.
Yeah, again, you'll see them when they go through the tri-oval. That's when it really kind of breaks these packs up. So everybody approaches it a little different. Everybody has to. It depends on what your truck is doing at that particular moment. You may have to let out. You may hit it at full throttle, but that's when everything kind of gets a little bit off.
As we watch now the field enter into the first corner, Huck here in the second stage. We watch the top side not have as much speed on the low side of the racetrack. Is that going to change throughout this race, you think, with the tire wear and all those factors?
Yeah, and it also depends, again, on how they're wanting to approach it. The lead car, if they're Jacob, could have went through the trial or had a moment somewhere else. So him just letting out kind of creates a domino effect to everybody that's behind him. And it's like, okay, let's get reset, get caught back up, and then we'll try to get our speed back going.
As that's happening there, as Jake Reeves in that 57, he's on the top side of the racetrack with Zach Hartwick in that 12. And we're looking at the low side of the top 10 there. Robbie Richards in that 48. Hard charger in this race, up 16 spots since dropping the green flag. Brennan Bullock there in that 17, up 16 spots. And Michael McKinnon, you talked about him, Huck. Absolutely staying in the fight. He's just the tail end of this lead pack here. He's up 17 spots to drop the green flag.
Sometimes the best place to be is the tail end of like the lead pack. That's where I kind of like to stay until these races start playing out to the later laps. It gives you a little bit more view, a little bit more depth of what's going on in front of you, and it gives you some time to react.
Oh, as that low side of the racetrack got very squarely off of 4. Jake Reeves, though, if he can just find almost like that transformer or the Power Ranger metamorphosis up there at the top side of the racetrack, Huck, he's just looking for some friends. He's Forrest Gump on the school bus looking for a seat. If somebody can help him out up there, he could battle the 5 of Jacob Klinkart now into 3 and 4. He has the speed in the 57. Lap times show it to me up here in the booth as well. Actually owns the fastest lap of the race so far. Just needs some friends. He might have it, though, as he's going to go door to door with the 5 into 1.
That was almost a problem right there. The 23 just about inside hooked the 5, getting out of the tri-oval. And I think that is a product of the tri-oval and the tires.
Here we go.
I'm sorry, the 82. I didn't mean to put that on Steven. The 82. I'm old and my glasses are laying on my desk.
As we come off of 4, everything cleared so far, Huck, but we alluded to it earlier in this race, how the tri-oval can be absolutely tricky. That circumstances, it could have been disastrous again for the lead half of this grid. As Adam Newton on the low side of the racetrack, he's trying to keep pace with the 5 of Jacob Klinkart. Further away he pulls, the slower the 5 is going to be. Now we see the momentum out of the top side building up as a 57 to Jake Reeves getting a huge push out of the 12 of Zach Hartwig.
Yeah, and they may just decide, and Zach may just decide, heck, I'm going to have to try this. So Zach's pretty comfortable in the playoffs. I think he's sitting in 12th. So, I mean, he needs to go out there and win. He needs to make a statement for himself. I think he won on the Monday series, and this would be a good place for him to do this tonight.
Side by side into 3 and 4 here at lap 62 with a DSR Electric 200. Jake Reeves on the top side. Zach Hartwig on the top side as well, pushing him along that back bumper. Jacob Klinkert on the low side of the racetrack. Adam Newton in the 82. Stephen Thomas. Brandon Bullock in that 17. Look at him making a comeback as well. Michael McKinnon up there. Justin Lunkin in the 18. All trying to battle it out. Robbie Richards in the 9th spot. Brandon Broadfoot also making a comeback in this race. He's up to 10th here on lap 63.
You know, I've never raced with Brandon. Well, I take that back. I think I've run 1 or 2 races with him. So all I know is from what I've seen on the Monday night series. And yeah, he's got no problem with throwing elbows around there with the other truck.
As the field comes by the corner here off of 2 down the backstretch, we are starting to see the truck starting to get a little spooky on the track, Huck. And when I say that, I use the Halloween vibes here on the NASCAR 360 Racing Network. Trucks now starting to feel a little bit of that wear. You're starting to feel that draft, play with the tires a little bit, making drivers a little bit uncomfortable with 11 laps to go here in stage 2.
I promise you the wear has kicked in with this many laps on these tires, and especially if some of them didn't pit. I'm not sure if we didn't have any that didn't pit. But that's kind of why we're having the gaps, and you can kind of see them moving back and forth. This is all tire issue now.
As Jake Reeves trying to hold on here and stay.
Jacob.
Oh, man. He almost, Huck, kept it together as he was hanging 10. He was surfing that wave through 3 and 4. He held on, though, as he's still on the top side of the racetrack. Will we make it through stage number 2 without that yellow flag? We'll have to wait and see. As Jacob Klinkert in that 5, still leading the way on the low side of the racetrack. Adam Newton in the 82, tailing behind him there. Zach Hartwig, and we're going to ride on board with our race leader in the 5 as he takes us through the tri-oval. Going to make it lap 68 into 1.
Yeah, and that little moment, I'm sure, upset that whole outside line. Everybody saw what was going on. Everybody kind of gave everybody room for error and let them catch up. And I'm not sure if Zach just hit him wrong or if he hit him right. And it's just the tires, and it just couldn't sustain whatever he gave him. And then we're coming up on some lap cars, so this should be very interesting.
As we're going to ride on board here, we'll go around the 3.
Ooh, in the tri-oval too.
Ooh, this is going to be good, Huck, as we head into 1. Going to force the 5 of Klinkert to the top side of the racetrack. Adam Newton will follow. Raul Meza there. Jose Luis Rivera, Chris Cinnamon. These are all lap trucks, guys that have had a rough night, to say the least, Huck, as Klinkert will clear the lap trucks as they both go back to the low side of the racetrack. Him and Adam Newton now separate from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, the lap trucks there did exactly what they're supposed to do. They just kind of stayed out of the way and let it happen.
As we get another wonderful onboard camera shot here on the NASCAR 360 Racing Network. This is the 18 machine. Justin Lumpkin. I love these onboard cameras here because you get to see what the tire wear actually does to the steering of these trucks. As you watch the 18, you know, he's trying to get that thing to the low side of the racetrack. Of course, he knows the truck to the low side, so he can't get it down there as low as he can. But as that tire wear starts to eat at it, oh my goodness, as you almost had collision as we're on board here, it's just going to be more and more of you now racing against the truck as that tire wear starts to eat in to the force of that truck.
Yeah, right now I would be happy to be on the bottom, and that's just where I would stick.
That's where Jacob Klinkert in that 5 has been the entire stage on the low side of the racetrack. Done a great job here tonight, racing up to the top of the grid, up 14 spots since the drop of the green flag. He has Stephen Thomas behind him. Adam Newton there as well. Most of these guys have been inside the top 5 as there's almost contact between the 23 Stephen Thomas as he goes high side on the racetrack. Side by side off of 2. Jacob Klinkart in that 5 as well. Adam Newton, the 82. He's going to try to bump the 5 into 3. No, he'll stay back as he tries to pick a lane. He'll stay low side as we're side by side off of 4. Stephen Thomas and Jacob Klinkart battle it out for the lead.
Yeah, it looks like Steven's trying to do a little bit of a diamond, so to speak. So he'll go high entering into the tri-oval and try to come out of it low so he can have a lot more throttle time. Heck, he may be full throttle being able to do that. It looks like a pretty good move.
As the battle continues into 3 and 4, Klinkart on the low side, Stephen Thomas on the top side of the racetrack. Counting down the laps here in stage number 2 of the DSR Electric 200. Side by side through that tri-oval across the start-finish line. We have 3 laps to go in this stage. Who will get the stage victory? We saw chaos at the end of stage number 1 with Chris Blanchard and Joey Doucette. The top 2 finishers in the stage collected each other and now out of this race. What will happen here at the end of stage number 2 as Klinkart with a big run on the bottom. He'll get pushed along by Adam Newton off of 4. Can we keep it green? Can we keep it moving? Can we keep it grooving into 1?
Yeah, Klinkart is actually sitting 20th. He is our last guy in the playoffs right now, so he is absolutely not going to give the 23 anything, and probably shouldn't. Side
by side. Down the backstretch here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, regular season finale. The concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series, the 5. Trying to hold on here in this stage. Jacob Klinkart on the top side. Stephen Thomas there as well as they come around the tri-oval here. Last lap in stage number 2.
Yeah, this is going to get real interesting. It looks like the 82 is helping out the 5. He looks like he's content being where he's at, but we'll see how long that lasts. Stage points are still big. They're not as big as for anybody right now than they are the 5, though. He really wants this.
As the battle comes off of 4, Klinkart in the 5, Stephen Thomas in the 23. Who will get the battle at the line? Who will have the run? Oh, man, that's a photo finish. It looks as though Stephen Thomas will get the stage 2 victory by just a hair at the line, Hug.
He did that little diamond move, and he had just buku speed coming down there to the line.
Wow.
And the thing is, the other trucks will see this, and they'll kind of start understanding, how to pick up a little bit more speed and how to negotiate the tri-oval a little bit better. So,
what an absolute finish to stage number 2 at the line. At least we didn't crash at the line there, Huck, as we did in stage number 1. Everything was clear sailing.
Yeah, they did a great job.
As we have this stage break here in stage number 2, let's bring up a colleague of ours, a man who's been inside the top 5 all night long, and a great race so far, Jake, in that 57. What do you think about your race at the A so far?
Honestly, it's been a fantastic race, Will. Me and you, we call these guys every single week, and these guys are tough. I'm telling you right now, even though, we see it up there in the booth and everybody sees it at home. These guys are very, very tough, and back got spun over there going into turn 3. Zach Hartwick back kind of got into me, kind of locked bumpers on me, but it's all good. It is what it is, but it's been a blast, man. I'm loving every bit of it.
So you currently own the fastest lap of the race. What's going to be the key to victory? What has been the key of showing those fast lap times?
Survival. we've seen a lot of wrecks already. We've seen, I don't know exactly what happened with Joey and Ashley. Something happened to them, and hate that for Joey and to Joey's family. We're thinking about you. Anything we can do to help you out. We're there for you. I know how it is to lose a close family member, and but yeah, it's going to be survival. It's going to be about trying to get in the right lane. The top lane seems like it's a little bit looser if you stay up there, and the bottom lane seems like it tightens up. So kind of a even feel, I guess you could say.
Huck, anything for our colleague here at the Nazareth 360 Racing Network?
Sit
Jacob,
back. Go
Jacob,
ahead.
since we kind of switched spots, I'm up here in your spot, and you're out here on the track where I normally am. I refuse to acknowledge you. That way I don't give you the curse.
Appreciate it. I appreciate that. I think that might have helped me out a little bit the past couple of times we've had a wreck.
Yeah.
Jake, before we let you go, my man, you've been top 5, top 10 in this race. Anybody that you wanted to shout out here, or any sponsors you wanted to thank for giving you this opportunity in this race?
Just most importantly, the good Lord up above for, letting me have the opportunity, giving me everything that I got to let me sit here and do this. And my dad, my wife, all my family, you guys for calling the race. Brady, everybody involved in Nazareth, McConey Setup Shop, McConey Entertainment, all the sponsors on the truck. It's been a hell of a ride so far. We'll see if we can end it good.
All right, my man. Good luck the rest of the way. Hopefully, we talk to you in victory lane. That's the 57 of Jake Reeves.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mission Esports. That's where I'll be at next season on Monday nights.
As we were joined by the 57 machine of Jake Reeves, been racing very good here tonight. Huck, as I mentioned, owns the fastest lap time of the race, and you mentioned it. It is a battle for survival here at Atlanta.
Well, now they don't have to worry about stage points, and they'll run this out. Again, I did not write down the laps that we're going to have in this, so there will more than likely be a green flag pit stop unless the cautions fly in a certain sequence where it negates that.
So we're going to go to about lap 140. So we're basically going to double stage number 2 here. So I'm looking at probably at least one round of green flag pit stops. Maybe some drivers trying to gamble a little bit. But let's rock and roll once again from the A as Stephen Thomas in the 23, Jacob Klinkert in the 5 will get things going once again. Green flag in the air as the 23 takes us into 1.
So I guess they pretty much came off pit road the way they entered. I think the 5 is probably going to be looking for help real soon. I have no idea what happened with the Reeves and those back there because there's a huge gap right now. But they'll get a run and probably swing out to the outside. That's where Jacob's been most of the night.
We'll take a look at that top 10 as things are moving here. One lap on the green. Stephen Thomas is leading the way. Adam Newton second. Justin Lumpkin third. Jacob Klinkert fourth. Jacob Reeves 5th. Brandon Bullock 6th. Ashley Dotson 7th. Michael McKinnon 8th. Brandon Broadfoot 9th. And Cody Knott now inside of the top 10 as we are absolutely single file off of the corner here down the backstretch at Atlanta. Stephen Thomas in that 23's been a great pusher all night long. Now he's the one being pushed in that lead position. As Huck, this is interesting here to start off the end of the race, about 70 or so laps to go. Everybody's preferring the low side of the racetrack.
It won't be that way very much longer. Let's be on that. And Steven's a smart guy. Steven got to the bottom of the track, and I got a strange feeling that's where he is going to be until it's time to try to win this.
Single file down the backstretch here at Atlanta. In the regular season finale, the DSR Electric 200. This is the regular season finale that concerns the Police Survivors Truck Series. Will be down to our top 20 at the drop of the checker flag at the end of this race. A great race so far. We had calamity at the end of stage 1 with the 16 machine of Joey Doucette unfortunately being collected in part with the 9 machine of Chris Blanchard. They're both out of this race. We just saw the conclusion of stage number 2, which was a photo finish, Huck. Now here, as we are done with the stage races, we're going to race it down to lap 140. Very calm on the racetrack as we are single file all the way down the grid.
Yeah, everybody's kind of behaving. Maybe they're going to prove me wrong, and they're going to stay on the bottom for a little bit longer than I thought. And, a lot of them could have just taken 2 tires, and this could be one of those things where they're just going to wait and see what their truck feels like, get a few more laps on it before they feel comfortable with making some moves.
As the field takes us off of 4, Adam Newton, now you can tell, maybe not liking the draft coming off the 23 of Stephen Thomas, as you are seeing some movement out of the 82 in that slipstream. And Huck, I love to ask this question every time, as we saw the conclusion of stages 1 and 2. We saw the experimentation these drivers had with different pit stops. How long do you think this run can be here, counting in the factors of drivers wanting to push the windows a little bit, maybe getting a little bit extra out of these tires? When do you start to see the first round of green flag pit stops? Around the century mark, maybe 95, 96?
Yeah, for me at least, with the way you're going to have to pit with friends. So some of these teams probably have a preset lap number that they're going to try to go in on, and it may be where they just kind of cut the stage in half, or it may be where they try to at least run the tires to the end of the gas stage. So whatever the gas is, I would imagine they could probably go maybe 40 laps, 35, 40 laps on a tank. That may be where they run it down to. Again, though, if there's a caution, then it's going to be complete gas saving mode, because you really don't want to have to go into the pits till you have to.
Absolutely. And how this race is playing out here after the end of the stages, can't really afford to lose any speed, Huck. We're not 2x2 racing. We're not really locked up in the pod. We'll jump back to some battles back here, though. We see Robbie Richards, Phil Pappas in the 85. These are really the only battles on the racetrack here. As we see now, this is going to go back to the single file battle. As we watch this point in the race, as Robbie Richards hits the apron there in the 48 as we're riding on board. Huck, for folks at home maybe watching, not the most entertaining style of race, but why are we seeing this in this point in the race, the single file?
Again, this could just be playing out to what, you're trying to get yourself to a point to where you can make a charge at it, and that's either through gas, through tires, through both, and just keeping your truck in one piece. You're not going to win it in this long of a stage, so you might as well try to at least maintain. You stay in the draft, be aware of what's going on, and just see how it plays out. The main focus is do not lose the draft, and I don't see anybody that's on the lead lap that's lost it.
No, everybody absolutely locked into that draft. We're nose to tail all over the racetrack. Single file here as we see some lap trucks in the mix. And that's Dan Hagan in that 39, still trying to hold pace. He was on the top side all by himself as we head into corner here. Stephen Thomas in the 23, Adam Newton in the 83 being pushed along here down the backstretch. The 23 is here. And we watch the 82 of Adam Newton. He's just calm in that second position, and watching him here conserving there in that second spot, not really pressing Stephen Thomas. I love to see this here, Huck. As you watch the 23, he's just going to get aggravated by the pressure the 82 is going to put on. Eventually, as that tire wear becomes a factor, the 23 will slide up the racetrack, and then you'll start to see the 82 start to just slowly but surely put that nose to the fender, start to eat away at the lead that Stephen Thomas had.
And, a lot of this is on purpose, too, to keep this straight line, to try to keep the pack going. You try not to get up underneath someone. You don't want to wreck them. You try not to get up high, but you're definitely going to do whatever you can do to just stay as close as you can to them to keep the speed going. And it's just all part of the bump draft. Thomas probably doesn't really care that he's getting it right now, as long as it's in the right spot.
To come off a 2 here, Justin Lumpkin in the 18. And one thing that I am noticing, Huck, is the drivers in this draft, they're feeling a little bit more. I think these Goodyear Eagles are nice and warmed up here. Starting to see drivers starting to poke those nose out of the slipstream, get back in it, stay in that draft. As you mentioned, they're also starting to feel that the draft pull them in. You're starting to feel those runs start to build. You pull that truck out of line just a little bit too much, Huck, you can start to get sucked into the draft. You don't really want to do that. You can get sucked into no man's land out there on the outside with no help.
Yeah, if guys smell blood in the water, they'll definitely take it. So you really hope that if you do, let's say you push out a little bit or you get a little loose, that this early that someone's not going to try to take it from you aggressively. And if they do, then it's probably more up to you to just let them have it. And they're definitely, I mean, you just see it. They're doing the parade right now, and that, again, that's all just going to be setting them up for later on down the run. And that's exactly what this is.
Parade lap here in the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series. Through the tri-oval, here I am, William Tiller. I am joined by driver commentator here in the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series, the driver of the 00, Huck Whittington, up here in the booth. Also, Dean Hopton, the man providing all the sights and sounds. And you know, Huck, you traded the steering wheel for the headphones, the racing gloves for the notebook here tonight. What are your thoughts of watching the competition from afar as we're starting to get into the meats and potatoes of this race?
It's definitely a different view. It's actually a pretty cool view. I mean, I've been a race fan since I can remember, so you know, watching races, it's great, but I can already tell you I miss it a little bit right now. We had some other issues going on. I have some technical issues, and Brady asked me to fill in, so I was glad to do it. I'll be back at Darlington next week.
There we go for folks out there. The 00 will be back inside the truck next week, but there's the 94 machine of Eric Zimmerman. We're riding on board here. Another truck out of that BP for Racing for Autism stable. Doing pretty good this season with Phil Pappas, Kyle Hess, and James Morris. They all qualified very, very well in this race right now. James Morris finds himself in that 11th position. We look at the rest of that stable. Kyle Hess in this race just below him there in 13th. Look at Phil Pappas in that 85, doing pretty good as well. So that stable of trucks here, Huck, doing very, very well this season.
Yeah, I think Kyle's in the top 10 in the standings. He may be the top dog for BP right now. He daggum near won our opener at Daytona. I think him and Morales decided they were going to talk about it, and Morales ended up in the C.O.P.S truck, the number 1 C.O.P.S truck, for a one-off. They won that race.
Essentially, all of the BP for Racing for Autism stable is all near each other. You have Phil Pappas in the 85. He just dropped down to 17th. Kyle Hess is in 15th. Eric Zimmerman 14th. James D. Morris in the 13th position. So the entire team centralized there just inside of the top 15. Looking back up at the lead, Adam Newton still right there on that back bumper with green flag pit stops right around the corner. We'll watch to see if he wants to put the pressure on the 23 as we're waiting the green flag pit stops here with just about 41 laps to go. We'll watch who will be the first domino to fall here in the DSR Electric 200. This is the regular season finale of the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series. No better way to end it than at Atlanta Motor Speedway, a track that virtually everybody knows. Huck, as we're down the backstretch, a shot of those point standings, and things could get very, very tricky here for that last spot, Huck, as we're creeping up towards the end of this race.
Yeah, Blanchard got killed tonight in points, so it really opens up the door, you know, for Jose and Klinkart and Bullock. So, we'll definitely see how they race this. I mean, they need to be aware of points, obviously. And here we go. They're green flag pitting.
As we see some dominoes start to fall.
Looks like BP's coming in. So that's why they were lining up like you had alluded to. They're going to pit together and go out together. That's the plan, I'm sure.
That's exactly right there. As the entire stable heads down, they will be the first dominoes to fall. We'll watch who else heads down pit road here in this run as we are starting to see some battles on the racetrack. Zach Hartwick, Jake Reeves going at it for the 6th spot. We'll see a side-by-side battle between Ashley Dawson, the 88, Michael McKinnon, that 13. Jake Reeves now looks to the inside of the 12 machine. Down the backstretch here into 3 and 4. Bob's ticking down here in the regular season finale. Zach Hartwick in that 12 finds himself all by himself on the top side as we come off of 4 here. Huck will cross that start-finish line, make it 103 into 1.
Yeah, Zach's getting some really good side drafting, and he's getting a really good launch on the outside. So it tells me that they have kind of a later pit strategy, him and the 13. You can still see, though, I mean, even on that outside, with the speed he's getting, you still have to be really careful in that tri-oval, and you're running out of room quick. Someone eventually is going to sideswipe the wall coming out of the tri-oval, if they haven't already.
And the pushing and shoving continues off of the corner. Although with green flag, pit stops right around the bend, these guys still want the positions on the racetrack. Huck, these guys aren't simmering down. You're seeing those pushes to the fender. You're starting to see those moves that I alluded to early on in this race. Drivers now trying to inch their way. They know the tires are starting to become naggy to some of these guys. They're starting to become a factor in this race. 23, though, having no problems keeping it on the low side of the racetrack. As you see a battle for third, though, Justin Lumpkin, Zach Hartwig, side by side down the backstretch here. Zach Hartwig cannot get down to the low side of the racetrack. He's been locked up there. You might have some help, though. Here comes the 13 of Michael McKinnon with that run into 3.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if some of these guys that are doing green flag pits don't even take tires. They just get the gas that they need and just try to hold it, because getting tires is still just a little bit extra time on pit road. At the very least, maybe take 2.
As we're down the backstretch, Huck, what's the absolute limit that you can push it here as we're on lap 106? We're going to get to about 30 laps to go, maybe 25 laps to go. Is that the absolute latest you can wait?
Yeah, you can't really save gas as well here as you can at Daytona and Talladega, because you can get in the draft in those places and almost be half throttle and still not lose it. You cannot do that here. You almost have to be full throttle. So, yeah, your gas saving just doesn't work here.
Right on board. Second place. Oh, no! Ooh, Huck, that made me nervous up here. Oh, made my palms sweaty. I just got a rush of anxiety as Adam Newton, the 82, almost got sideways there at the top side of the grid.
Yeah, I think Zach was getting a little greedy with the side draft. 82 did not. Well, it just didn't register very well with the 82 truck. I don't think he did it on purpose, but hopefully Zach will understand. Maybe this is not the time for that just yet.
And again, you see the 82 of Adam Newton right on the back bumper of the 23 into 3 and 4. As we ride on board with the 5 machine of Jacob Klinkart, he's now worked his way back up here. He faded just a little bit there for just a moment's time. Huck, our race leader, for moments during the race, now inside of the top 5. He's to the low side of Zach Hartwig there, the 12. And now I'm starting to think the 12 prefers the top side of the racetrack. He's had an opportunity to get low. And now is absolutely that opportunity is going to be closed into 3 and 4. Hartwig has to find some help up here, or he'll lose so much speed by himself as we're off of 4.
Well, I think what Zach's hoping is that these trucks on his inside are going to pit all together, so they can have the whole front, and then when they pit, they'll actually be able to get down low, and then we'll be the next group that pits. Zach and Michael, and I believe one of the other trucks behind Michael, they're all on the same team. A lot of this is team play right now.
We do have that could be an awesome observation there, Huck. That's why we have the driver commentator up here. He does have 1 lap on the rest of these leaders up here, so maybe putting himself in a position where when these guys head down, he can easily just take that lead from the rest of these guys and keep it for about a lap or so before he has to head down.
And they could just be seeing what they're going to do. I mean, if that doesn't happen, then they're probably going to have to go ahead and get in line. I don't think Zimmerman did very well in his pit stop, because I don't think he came out. They're lapping him right now. He's not with the other BP cars or trucks. They're in that 94.
As we'll make it lap 112 across the start-finish line here at the beautiful Atlanta Motor Speedway. This is the regular season finale. The concerns of police survivors will go crown jewel racing next week as we kick off the Sweet 20 playoff time here on the Fast Fridays. Stephen Thompson, the 23, locking it down on the inside. Adam Newton up there as well. We saw some very fast trucks collide at the end of the first stage with Chris Blanchard and Joey Doucette, unfortunately retired out of this race. It was a photo finish at the line for stage number 2. I feel like, Huck, we're going to have the same thing at the end of this race. So far, though, Stephen Thomas takes us off at 2 as our race leader.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a green white checker. So, yeah, looks like the 13 and the 12 are content with being where they're at right now. So there is probably some teamwork at play here. And again, all these guys on the same team, they have comms for the people at home amongst themselves. I have teams. Everybody has teams. You can't hear them. The other drivers can't hear them. They're separate and they're private, and they can work out their strategies throughout the race.
Steven Thomas, our race leader. Down the backstretch, Hartwig looking for a move on that outside. Michael McKinnon in that 13 now finds himself inside of the top 5. Great run into the 13. He had some early issues in this race. Huck has gotten up from the canvas, finds himself back in this fight as he's going to lock in that nose right behind Zach Hartwig in that 12 as we're around 1 and 2.
Yeah, Mike needs to win one. He wants to win one. He was one of the founding fathers of this series, and he's still looking for his first win. And I know it's got to be frustrating. So, look out. Come on.
Oh. As we head into 3 and 4 here, folks, we're going to cross the line. We're going to make it lap 116, but we'll go quiet here in the NASRA 360 Racing Network in honor of Robin Doucette here on lap 116. Back here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network, that was in loving memory of Robin Doucette, a wonderful family member here at the NASRA racing community. Joey Doucette's mom, the 16 machine, goes by the Joker here in the series, racing for a championship Monday night. Unfortunately, was an early retiree in this race. Robin Doucette, in loving memory. If you'd like to help out the Doucette family, you see the QR code in your screen. But Huck, with 23 laps to go, these green flag pit stops are going to come in absolute money time in this race. Who will be the first one to go down as the field comes off of 3 and 4? Here they come.
Yes. Oh, we got them. We got them spinning in the back.
Oh, that's big. Caution comes out as we had trucks heading down pit road. We'll see what that does. And Huck, for these drivers that enter pit road, does that do anything to these guys?
Well, I was just fixing to say. So it depends on where the front of your truck was when the caution light came on. Because the caution light coming on, it instantly closes pit road, and you cannot come onto a closed pit road unless you're avoiding an accident, and then that's up to race admin. So if they came on the closed pit road, then they're going to get a penalty out of it.
They may be all right, seeing as though the caution flag was initiated behind those guys heading down pit road.
As soon as the yellow, you have to see when the light comes on at pit road, it's green. Well, if we stay in Robbie's, we can actually see, just because of the way he was angled, if we get into 48's cockpit, we can actually see when the light shut off for pit road.
And as we were watching that, Huck, what about the 57 of Jake Reeves? How close that was. He almost got punted in the rear bumper there as he's heading down pit road.
Yeah, he did. It's still, so all those cars that just went in are good.
Wow.
I think they'll be okay, at least to Jake or to Reeves. I'm not sure if anybody came in behind him. It was really close.
Wow. As we look, Steven Thomas will win the race off of pit road. Adam Newton, second. Jacob Reeves, Jacob Klinkart, the two Jacobs there as well. Justin Lumpkin, Zach Hartwig, Michael McKinnon, Brandon Broadfoot, Dan Hagan, and Brandon Bullock will be our top 10 on the racetrack. Look at some other guys there out of pit road. Robbie Richards in 11th, Cody Knott in 12th, Ashley Dodson 13th. Jose Luis Rivera still down pit road in 14th. James D. Morris 15th. Kyle Hess 16th. Phil Pappas 17th. Eric Zimmerman 18th. And Raul Meza is our last truck on the lead lap in that 37 machine. Here in the DSR Electric 200, Huck, I believe that's going to give us just around 16, 17 laps to go here in this race.
Yeah, so the BP trucks that pitted under green, the first group, they'll probably get the wave around. Now, I could be wrong, and I don't think Zimmerman will be a part of it. I think he was 2 laps down, but if they get the wave around, this will actually help them out, and they can be on the tail end of the lead lap if that's how it all worked out. It's hard to tell with some of the scoring and with iRacing. Sometimes it can get a little wonky.
And as we were under this yellow flag, we did have some hardware to give out before this race started. Unfortunately, Mark Morton in that 8, who has been an incredible rookie in this series, didn't make the start. He is our Flieger Farm Paint Shop Hard Luck Award winner from last week's race at Phoenix. That was the Breast Cancer Awareness 150. If you haven't checked out Flieger Farm Paint Shops, we invite you to go do so today. Get your free paint scheme for those first-time customers. Again, that's a free paint scheme for first-time customers. Go contact Adam at Flieger Farm Paint Shop today. Huck, we're about to get an incredible restart here. The Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series. You've been involved in a lot of these restarts. What are your thoughts? What are you looking for here as you're watching it from afar?
Really what you're trying to do here, so we're going to have, maybe 23 to go. You're still in survival mode at these types of racetracks. It's don't do anything crazy. You can't win it in 25 laps, but you can lose it right now. So you just try to maintain, don't do anything crazy, don't lose the lead lap or the lead draft, and just kind of play it out and see what happens.
Will we have a first-time winner
Well,
here tonight at Atlanta as we have a truck
like
spinning on the
Zimmerman's
restart?
I don't know if it's going to throw a caution. I don't think it will. He was off the surface.
As the green flag stays out, Stephen Thomas takes us into 1 and 2. He's being trailed by the 5 machine, a Jacob Klinkart. Clear sailing off of the corner as you see Stephen Thomas, big checkup.
Well, I was just going to say, it's not going to be nice anymore. There's not going to be the parade around the bottom. Everybody is out for themselves now, as they should be, especially, again, the 5, Klinkart, he is 20th for the playoffs, so he's going to do everything he can do to win or get the highest score he can out of this.
You also don't want to press it too hard, Huck. You don't want to be overly aggressive in this race. You don't want to try to make one of those crazy moves or gamble too much and put yourself out. You don't want to crash yourself out of the top 20, although I don't think the 5 is going to do that here in this race, but looking very, 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 very strong as he leads the way around 3 and 4.
Yeah, he's doing really well. And then, of course, the outside's going to come on. Zach's been running the outside. I think he feels comfortable there. He's been doing it all race long. We'll just see how comfortable he keeps doing this.
17 laps to go from Hot Atlanta here as we're off of 2. Jacob Klinkart in the 5 will take us down the backstretch. Being pushed aggressively from the 23 of Stephen Thomas, who has been up there all race long inside of the top 3. Robbie Richards with a hard charge race here tonight. The 48 up 20 spots since the drop of the green flag. He is in a smooth spot on the low side. Here comes Zach Hartwick in that 12 trying to lead a high side charge. He's being pushed along by the 10 machine of Brandon Broadfoot, who has also come back in this race. Huck, we're seeing a lot of guys who had early race troubles now back in the fight inside of the top 5.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way these races work themselves out. If you can get these trucks fixed, they're pretty robust, and you don't have engine or wheel damage, you can get up here in a draft and still make a show out of it.
As we come into the corner, 15 laps to go here in the DSR Electric 200 here on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. You see that QR code in the corner of your screen. Go ahead and scan that with your phone. All that information to go and support the Doucette family. Joey Doucette, the 16 machine. Here, the Joker and the Nazareth family. Go see how you can support him and what's going on in his life right now with the unfortunate passing of his mom. But here in this race, 14 laps to go. Stephen Thomas, Jacob Pinkart, Robbie Richards, all trying to be winners here this season. No better way to get it done, Huck, than here in the regular season finale as we're down the backstretch into 3 and 4.
Yeah, they are pushing it hard on the outside. I've seen the 12 get loose a couple of times, so this ought to be interesting to see if they can maintain this kind of pace or this kind of momentum on the outside. It doesn't look like the outside does a great job unless you are driving like this.
Oh, Huck, that tri-oval makes me nervous, looking like a wave pool at a water park. You see that big shift right off of the tri-oval. You see if we can keep it together. I feel like that's where we're going to have another caution flag, right in that progression off the tri-oval, right to the start-finish line. We'll watch it here into 3 and 4. Jacob Klinker on the low side of the racetrack. Stephen Thomas in the 23. Let's see how we progress through this tri-oval. A lot cleaner that time, Huck. It does make me nervous, though, that these drivers are going to feel the wear through the tri-oval. Some drivers also hitting the apron in the entry of 1.
Yeah, once you come out of there, sometimes you're just the air is just really unstable on the nose of your car, and it'll just kind of suck you down there just briefly. You'll see their hands on the steering wheel. It looks like they're swatting at bees, trying to get it back.
12 laps to go in the DSR Electric 200, as again, it is very, very nerve-wracking through that tri-oval. Jacob Klinkart in the 5. He'll lead here as that awesome drone shot here in the Nazareth 360 Racing Network 23 machinist Stephen Thomas. He is hungry for a victory, Huck, and I got to say, all the work that he's been putting in as the pusher in this race, he got pushed along for just a little while. He wants to cash in his chips. He wants to cash in all that hard work to get that victory.
Yeah, the 10 just went into the wall coming out of that tri-oval, but I don't think it's going to cause any issues. He's just probably going to drag him back a few spots.
10 laps to go. 10 laps to go here in the regular season finale of the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series. Jacob Klinkart leading the way on the low side. Zach Hartwick now trying to lead a charge by himself. Here comes Robbie Richards to push along. Brendan Bullock in the 17 truck. He's there as well. We're side by side for the race lead across that tri-oval. Oh, they wreck Ashley Dawson in the 88. I see him, just a glimpse. Huck, they pile it up down the front stretch.
Did it collect more? I wasn't able to see it.
Big wreck here. That will give us essentially 5 laps to go when everything is said and done. But it looks as though the 88 machine of Ashley Dodson will crash in that tri-oval. I had a feeling that something was coming there. As you saw, Brandon Broadfoot, he got loose by himself in the tri-oval. We'll see what happens here to the 88, though, Huck. They were 3 wide racing down that backstretch. We'll see if they can carry that through. You see the 13 of Michael McKinnon. The 88 tries to get to the middle.
He just tried to, he just either thought he was clear or just ended up pushing up out of the tri-oval. I have a sneaky suspicion he just pushed up out of the tri-oval. Looks like it collected. Poor Michael.
You saw the 13. He came down after making contact with the topside wall. Unfortunately, collects the 10 of Brandon Broadfoot there on the low side of the racetrack, as we have just, I believe, our 3rd or 4th caution of the night. Huck, been a pretty clean race here at Atlanta. The DSR Electric 200, this is the regular season finale here in the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series. It is myself, William Tiller, Huck Whittington. He is the driver of the 00. He is our broadcaster up here in the booth tonight, and Dean Hopton. And Huck, as we have this opportunity to do so, I talked about this is the very first season of the Concerns of Police Survivors title sponsor here on Friday nights. You're a big contributor of that. If you could, we have the man of the hour to do that. Maybe just talk about the Concerns of Police Survivors and what they do. And like I always like to say, we are honored and thrilled to have them on board.
Yeah, so they're very near and dear to my heart. I'm in the 30-plus years of law enforcement, looking at the light at the end of the tunnel. But the Concerns of Police Survivors, they help out the families, friends, coworkers of officers lost in the line of duty. They were established like in 1984, I think they started out with only 110 of them, and now there's over 75,000 members, and that's good and also unfortunate. But they help out, try to help them cope with the stress and with the grief on a day-to-day basis. They're just phenomenal, and they're a nonprofit charity. So just about everything they get, it comes from contributions and grants and donations and things like that. I think they're a 501 nonprofit is what it's called.
Once again, Huck, I want to thank you for your years of service to the community. As you said, that the light at the end of the tunnel is coming. It's going to be one of those calls. But for you, men and women in blue, this is just one of the many organizations that help in those dire circumstances. It's an organization that we wish probably didn't exist, Huck, but does anyways and does incredible things. If you could just go check out concernsofpolicesurvivors.org. Again, that's concernsofpolicesurvivors.org. Like I always like to say, we're honored and thrilled to have them on board here in this Friday night series. We wish to have them on for future endeavors. I feel like we have an awesome partnership here on Friday nights. But let's check it out here,
We're
Huck,
close.
as we're going to get things
We're
rocking and
very
rolling
close.
once again. As
been-
Brandon Bullock will be our race leader, Jacob Pinkart second, Zach Hartwig third, Stephen Thomas fourth, Robbie Richards fifth, Adam Newton sixth, Jake Reeves seventh, Justin Lumpkin eighth, Dan Hagan ninth, and Michael McKinnon will be our top 10. It looks as though Huck will have essentially a first-time winner if everything stays how it is.
Quite a possibility. It's quite a possibility. But again, man, we get 6 laps at these types of tracks. We could be here with the green, white, checkered. We could be here for 12 more laps. Actually, who knows?
None of these guys, this is just to put it in perspective here, none of these guys inside of the top 5 have race victories this season. We're looking at the likes of Brandon Bullock, Jacob Klinkart, Zach Hartwig, Stephen Thomas, Robbie Richards. I'm looking at our results this season right now up here in the booth. None of those guys have seen victory lane. All the trucks inside of the top 5, all itching for that first win. No better way to do it than in the regular season finale. To enter the playoff races on a victory. There's so much mojo, so much confidence, Huck, that comes with that. Going to be an electrifying restart here. Who's your pick to take home that checkered flag with 6 laps to go?
I'm going to go with Bullock. He really needs us. The 17 needs us. He's 21st in points. If he gets this, he's got to win. He's in. And he doesn't have to worry about it.
As we get ready to go on this restart, shout out to the boss man himself, Brady LaBeouf, for tuning in. Says, let's go, Bullock and Jacob, both my podcast picks. We'll check out Brandon Bullock in the 17. We look at the green flag is now in the air. Who will take home the checkered flag in the regular season finale of the DSR Electric 200 as they come roaring across the start-finish line into one? We're back on and racing here at Atlanta.
Yeah, Brandon's got a big old gap. I don't think he's going to have the help like they have on the outside. I have a feeling the 5's going to get around him. The thing is he going to stay with the 23 or is he going to cut down in front of the 17?
As we're battling down the backstretch here, it is a game of chess, not checkers. You have to be patient. Although you are hungry with 5 laps to go, as Bullock looks at the inside, he's going to try to make the move on the 5 of Klinkart. They almost touch doors. Huck, as we'll come across that tri-oval. 1 lap under green, 4 laps to go.
You see Thomas is still kind of diamond in that tri-oval, so yeah. I'm not sure what happened there. Looks like he lost contact with the 5 a little bit, which is a huge help for the 17.
17 on the low side of the racetrack. Trying to hold on. 4 laps to go. We see contact. Can we keep it together, though, as the 5 does? He keeps that truck straight. Good move out of the 5 to save that thing as we come off of 4. Brandon Bullock will get the 3 to go. Throw up those 3s. Rest in peace to Dale Earnhardt, because we have 3 laps to go here in the DSR Electric 200, the regular season finale, the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series, as Brandon Bullock trying to hold on for his first win of the season. Can he get it done as the 5 of Klinkart? He's coming quick on the outside.
Yeah, this is going to be probably one of those at the last lap pass, last second pass.
2 laps to
The
go now.
outside gets a little momentum, and then it just loses it going into the trial.
Yeah, this is getting very hairy right here, Huck. You see everybody just come door to door, off of the corner. The field now down the backstretch into 3 and 4. The 17 truck of Brendan Bullock trying to hold on here into 3 and 4. Klinkart on the outside. Hartwick in the 12. Oh my goodness, suckers. They almost touch.
Yep. I don't think Zach's. Yeah, I think Zach's fixing to get. Uh-oh. Robbie was very nice to the 12 right there. The 48 let out.
Final lap here at Atlanta in the DSR Electric 200. As we're off of 2 down the backstretch to the 17 truck of Brendan Bullock trying to hold on. They crash. Jacob Klinkart in the 5. They wreck down the backstretch. Everybody wrecking down the backstretch. At least 2 trucks on the racetrack. Brendan Bullock in the 17. Zach Hartwick in the 12. Who will win this drag race battle to the start-finish line? The 12 tries to make a move. It will not be enough as the 17 truck of Brendan Bullock will take home the checkered flag and the DSR Electric 200, his first win of the season.
And he is going to the playoffs.
What an incredible finish here at Atlanta in the regular season finale. Brandon Bullock in that 17 truck coming into tonight. You look at where he was standing in the points table. He was on the outside looking in the 21st position. Folks, he was about 22 points away from that cut line. No stage points, takes home the checkered flag, and as Huck Whittington mentions, he is playoff driving. As we check out the chaos that ensued entering into corners 3 and 4, Huck, you knew a big one was coming, but it happened just on the last set of corners.
That's pretty much par for the course for the these types of racetracks. Right now, the car's back here. It's just, how do I get through this mess, and can I get the best finish that I possibly can out of this? And and that one just came streaking through. I'm not sure who that was.
And folks, as we watch the 17 truck of Brandon Bullock absolutely burn it down here at Atlanta, I'm sure there's going to be some fun clubs that he's going to go to after this race. Because with this upset victory, Huck, not only can he celebrate the fact that he's a playoff driver, he can celebrate the fact that he's going to get the Hard Charger Award in this race as well, finishing 23 spots to the good, the drop of the green flag. He's going to get the race victory as well, his first of the season. So a lot of things the 17 can now check off his list heading into the playoff races. He's going to go ahead and blow this engine here on the front stretch. And as he does that, let's check out the official results of the DSR Electric 200 as Brandon Bullock gets his very, very first win of the season, locks himself into the top 20 for those playoff races next week. Zach Hartwick comes home second. You saw that mutual respect between those two at the drop of the checkered flag. Brendan Broadfoot, awesome finish here tonight, finishes third. Ashley Dotson 4th, Jose Luis Rivera 5th, Jacob Klinkart 6th, Stephen Thomas 7th, Michael McKinnon with another great run here tonight, finishes inside the top 10 with that 8th spot. Cody Knight finishes 9th, and Robbie Richards rounds out our top 10.
Looks like we got Adam Newton 11th, our old friend Jacob. He managed to get it home in 12th. Lumpkin 13th, Kyle Hess in 14th, Dane Hagan 15th. Pappas, who came back to join us, 16th. James D. Morris, 17th. And our Canadian buddy, Chris Cinnamon, just I think he got caught up in something early, finished 18th.
Rounding out the rest of the field here, we have Raul Meza in that 37 machine, finishing 19th. And rounding out our top 20, Eric Zimmerman in that 94. 21st position is going to be occupied by Ed Osborne. Stephen Gregory in that 61, not going to have a great run here tonight, going to finish 22nd. Chris Blanchard and Joey Doucette going to finish 23rd and 24th. The top 2 trucks in that first stage, unfortunately, not going to have the results. They're going to mirror that early race speed. Jeff Merckx, surprisingly, is going to finish 25th here tonight. Adam Johnson's going to round out our field there in 26th, and Hunter Parsons there in the 25. We saw his early race issues there. Going to round out our field there in the 27th position. But Huck, without further ado, it is time to speak with a man who is absolutely popping champagne in Victory Lane here tonight, or popping some natty lights, whatever adult beverage this man prefers, because he's got a lot to celebrate with this victory in the DSR Electric 200. Without further ado, let's talk to the race winner himself, Brandon Bullock, in that 17. Brandon, this is your first win of the year. You're officially a playoff driver. Take us through an absolute incredible race here at Hotlanta.
Oh, man, first and foremost, I couldn't have done it without my teammate Zach. Um, without him pushing those last few laps, I definitely would not have made it. So thanks to him, yeah, it was an awesome race, really.
We see that you finished 23 spots to the good since the drop of the green flag. Uh, what do you think it was that caused the 17 to have so much speed here that allowed you to sort of navigate your way through this field, and you did so with it impressive fashion?
I think first and it was really the chaos early kind of opened the door for us pretty good. So um, definitely have to say that was a big part of it, considering there was a lot of good drivers that went out in that first little wreck.
And Brandon, now that you've locked yourself in with that first win, what does this win mean to you? You know, we talk about some of these guys, including yourself, who've been knocking on the door, some great runs here and there, top 10s, top 5s, top 15s. You finally break through here tonight. What does a win like this mean?
Oh, it means a lot, and to do it when we were honoring Joey Doucette's mom that passed away, that and him being an old teammate, that even makes it a little bit better.
And Brandon, we have Huck Whittington up here in the booth. And Huck, if you wanted to ask anything to your fellow competitor who, on the outside looking in, now locks himself into that top 20, guy you've been racing with all season long, picks up a huge win.
How you doing, Brandon?
Good. How are you, Huck?
I'm fine. I was missing it out there. Not so much after I saw the first wreck. Hey, man, you did a great job. How you feeling about all this? Are you ready to go to Darlington and put on another show?
Hopefully. Darlington's usually good to me, so it's good to be um, now locked in. We were definitely too far out to not go for a win and try to make sure that happened. So, and again, thanks to Zach for the pushes to make that happen.
Yeah, Zach was nice. He did a good job back there. I was looking at your points early and saw how far back you were, so I was kind of pulling up for you, buddy. We always race very well around each other. You're a very respectful driver and a good driver. I'm happy for you.
Well, thank you, Huck. That means a lot.
Before we let you go, with this race victory, Brandon, a huge race victory here in the DSR Electric 200. We'd love to give you the opportunity to shout out anybody that you might have had watching here tonight, or any sponsors that helped put that 17 in victory lane.
Yeah. First, I'd like to shout out to you guys at the Nazareth 360 Racing Network. Thanks for all the hard work you guys put into this. Brady, Cody, and everybody as well. And then we got, for sponsors, we have Warrior Wrap, Warrior Photos, um, let's see, Speed Ranch Shocks, Pulse Poppers, Fat Daddy Meats, Butt Kicker, Track Bar Media, Rees Energy, Sim Speed Shop, and then also a special, shout out to Joey. Hopefully this gets through this pain of losing his mom and all that with, the least bit of stress that he can have.
Absolutely. Well said there, Brandon. And we see you paying your respects with Robin's name on that windshield of the 17. And I got to say, it does look very good in victory lane here tonight, as it is. Brandon Bullock in that 17 truck taking home the victory in the DSR Electric 200. Brandon, we appreciate you taking the time with us here. My man, have a great weekend. Cannot wait to see you. You're officially a playoff driver next week at Darlington.
Thanks, you guys too.
That was the 17
See you
truck.
Friday, Brandon.
Yep, see you, Huck.
And you can hear out of him there, Huck, what this race means to him to get this first victory. You almost hear a sense of relief that you finally get through there. You knock the door down. And when you asked him about, as a playoff driver, what's the mindset now? He sort of had to regroup because you put so much into getting this race victory done.
Yeah, I've been, like I said, racing with Brandon for quite a while, talking to him on and off comms. I can promise you that's the most excited I've ever heard him, believe it or not.
A man of many words. But I believe you're catching up with a guy who put in a lot of work in this race, ran consistently inside the top 5, was a pusher there down the stretch, actually assisted the 17 truck across that line. That's the driver of the 12 machine, Zach Hartwig.
Hey, Zach.
Hello.
How you feeling? Pushed him across the line. That's pretty good, buddy. That was nice of you. Good teamwork.
Yeah, that was all Bullock right there. I mean, he knew when to jump up and get in front of me, and then as soon as he did that, I was committed. I knew he needed to lock in. I knew he needed a win to get in, so I was like, Bullock, here we go. Let's do her, buddy.
So, looked like it was a little loose on top. I saw you get a little wiggly a couple of times. Was that just the way the track was playing out tonight?
Yeah, my preferred line was trying to stay to the top, and most of the night it was the most comfortable. The truck on older tires did get a little loose, but the more you stayed up top, I felt like it was a lot grippier up there. So my preferred line was definitely to stay up there and just try to, one at a time, pick them off as I could.
Well, congratulations on a good finish. Tell Michael I'm sorry. I think I gave him the curse early on. I was kind of rooting for him.
Yeah, I will. I will definitely.
And Zach, as we have you on here, my man, in this race, we watched you be a great teammate there at the line. Was that sort of the strategy coming in? Did you ever feel like that if you could just get around some of these guys that were leading this race and get you into clean air, that this could have been your checkered flag? Or are you okay with this podium finish here?
I'm definitely okay with this podium finish. As much as I wanted to win this thing with, I've got that special scheme for Joey Doucette on there. As much as I wanted to win this thing for him and his mom and everything that he has going on, he's my teammate on Mondays. I knew Brandon needed to get in, and it was more selfless of me to just get him in and let him go for a championship as well as the rest of my teammates. We're all locked in, so our Warrior is going to go for a championship, which is awesome.
That is absolutely awesome. There is Warrior will race for a championship, and those playoff races start next week, Zach. And with that podium finish, you sort of started it there. Is there anybody that you wanted to talk about here as you're on the podium, or any sponsors that helped get you on this great run here tonight?
First and foremost, I want to thank Cody Knott. He's our Warrior Raps leader. He put this team together and he believed in every single one of us this season, and we all basically had our own little goals and agendas, and he basically helped us get to where we are. I also, with a heavy heart today, I want to talk. It's hard to say it, but yet I mean I want to talk about Joey. He's been through a lot. It's hard to. Sorry, I'm getting a little choked up, but yeah, definitely want to thank him. He's been there. We've all been there for him, and it's hard to go through something like that, and it's hard. Um, this podium's definitely for him, definitely for my team. Pulse Poppers, Warrior Raps, Serpro, all the guys, all the sponsors that came on board with us. Just want a huge shout out to Brady, a huge shout out to Nazara. You guys in the booth tonight, you rocked it. Everybody, just top to bottom, we're all a family here. We all show each other support, and that is basically the key here.
Absolutely, and that's well said, Zach. We're all 16 strong here tonight at Nazareth. But Zach, you come home second here tonight. Great job on that podium position. I believe you are a motivated driver here, and all those motivated drivers come out with some great results. You get one here tonight. We appreciate you taking the time with us here, my man. Have a great weekend. Can't wait to see you back here in that 12 machine.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. That was the 12 of Zach Hartwick. Huck, and you hear it out of these guys that finish on the podium. Most of these guys are inspired drivers. You see the 12 with that special paint scheme for Robin Doucette in this race. And most of the time, what I've seen, Huck, is these inspired drivers, these drivers that are racing motivated, they come home with some great finishes.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps. There's no doubt about that. Kind of makes you power through because the big part of this is mental too. You get frustrated with another driver. You get frustrated with what happened. You get frustrated with just about anything, and you just got to power through it. If you have some motivation, it gives you something to power through with.
Let's talk to one driver who has powered through and powered through on that last lap, Hook, as we're checking out that last lap replay. That's the 10 machine of Brennan Broadfoot, who survives this race after some racing stripes on the side of that 10 machine. He avoids his last lap disaster. Essentially, looks like goes from about the 12th or 13th position up to third. Brandon, take us through your race here at Atlanta.
Man, it was chaotic. This number 10 KMA designed Chevy Silverado was bad fast all night. Had a few run-ins. Had that spin out on the front stretch. Thankfully, I wasn't able to collect nobody. I was able to get back on track and get back on and race, and then got caught up in something else earlier or later on in the race, and then I had that caution at the end before that last one that got collected with my teammate Michael McKinnon, and I don't remember who else was involved, but I thought I had some significant damage that I wouldn't be able to stay up there, but stayed out and just try to stay hooked up to the draft, and knew being on the bottom on the last couple laps, especially the last one, was preferred to avoid a wreck. And then that wreck on the last lap happened, and then I was like, I'll just go straight forward and pray that I can make it through there. And sure enough, I saw my other teammates up ahead of me. I was like, yeah, Brandon Bullett's going to get the win, and Zach's getting second, and I'm going to get third. Let's do this. And thankfully, we all three got it through that. So I don't know, man. I'm just stoked and excited for that.
In your very first start here in the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series, Brandon, you come home third. What do you think, or what do you see on the track that are differences and maybe some similarities in what you see in that Monday night series?
It's more intense on Friday nights because there's some drivers that I'm not familiar with, but I was able to get familiar with a few uh, on the track. I just like the pace. We had long green flag stops or a green flag condition. The track was good. We didn't have that many cautions, but a few. The competition in Friday is what I really want, and having my debut and my only race left of the 2003 season on both Monday and Friday is pretty special to end it this way. And I couldn't do it any better than being up there with my other two teammates for next season. And I know all the other two were mentioning Joey Doucette and his family, and then this is for him and his family as well. So it's pretty special night.
Huck, anything for our third place finisher here tonight?
Oh, Brandon, nothing like the bottom of the racetrack and a big old pile up at the super speedway, is there?
Yeah, it's different, and because you do it with a VR, that it's a different experience when you're just soaked in all the reality of racing there, and having to go through that in virtual reality with your VR set. It's complete exciting and adrenaline rush, but also you know how to time your distance and stuff. So it's exciting. Yeah, being on that bottom was yeah, that top didn't really suit very well with me after a few runs, so bottom was a good choice.
Yeah, you did a great job on the bottom. It just the seas just opened up. I was watching you on the playback through your car, and I mean, good Lord, it was just wide open. That was great. Good
Yeah,
choice.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming, and then my eyes opened, and I was like, "Oh, just go ahead and just go. What do you have to lose here? Just go straight forward. You're almost there." And sure enough, made it through there.
Good job. You coming to Darlington Friday?
I unfortunately can't race because I don't got enough starts on the Friday night series. But if I was able to, I would. But I'll be cheering on the Warrior E Racing or esports teammates, and I'll watch like I always do.
All right. Have a good night. Congratulations.
Thank you. Huck.
That was our third place finisher, Brennan Broadfoot, and that 10 machine. Well, Huck, that looks as though that'll wrap things up here from Atlanta. That'll also wrap things up here in the regular season. The Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series next week at Darlington. It'll be officially playoff racing time. And Huck, before we go, I gotta say, for your debut up here in the booth, you did a fantastic job. I know you prefer to be back behind the wheel at 00, but you have a seat up here anytime up here in the booth. For your first time calling the race here in the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series, what are your thoughts?
Again, it's just like sitting with my buddies watching a race and just kind of talking about it. You know, you have a little bit more knowledge of what's going on, being a sim racer, so it's fun to give out, you know, little tips, tricks, and hints, and part some of your knowledge to the viewers and to you guys.
Absolutely. And you see three guys there that finish on the podium that I mean this in the greatest way, Huck. You've raced with these guys. These three guys that finished on the podium, not necessarily guys that we would see on the podium on a regular basis. And for the 17 truck of Brendan Bullock, with this win, goes from 21st in those playoff standings to locked in automatically with a race victory. Zach Hartwick racing with a special tribute paint scheme to Joey Doucette's mom, Robin Doucette. In that 12, you also see the third place position of Brennan Broadfoot in his very first start here in this series. He makes it through and finishes third on the podium. Just a fantastic racer. We had a photo finish at the end of the second stage, calamity at the end of the first stage. But Huck, as we had those those point standings up on our screen here, we can officially deem he's gonna love this because he didn't race here tonight, Huck. We can officially deem Keith Bradley, the 29 machine, as the regular season champion.
No surprise there. Good job for Keith. I know he's busy. He's got something going on, but shout out to Keith. Good job, buddy. And we'll just see how the playoffs go because now things are different, and now it's going to be a little less friendly. I can promise you that.
Absolutely, yes. He will be our regular season champion heading in to the playoff races as the Sweet 20 begins next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Darlington. No better way to kick off the playoff races here in the Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series. But, folks, in this usual time of thanking sponsors, which include Concerns of Police Survivors, Flieger Farm, Paint Shop, and of course, DSR Electric Machine, I'm going to go ahead and use that time to once again send our prayers, strength, everything that the Doucette family needs in this time, including Joey Doucette, as he unfortunately, as we've mentioned during this broadcast, suffered a tremendous loss, the loss of his mom this past week. And as you've seen during this entire broadcast, we do have a QR code, 16 strong. And with those unsurmountable losses, there's comes things along the way, Huck, that families unfortunately have to deal with. If you want to help out the Doucette family in any way, please go ahead and scan that QR code with your phone right now. But as we end the broadcast here on the Nazareth 360 Racing Network, we do want to send once again congratulations to the 17 truck of Brandon Bullock. We'll go ahead and take once again a moment of silence for Robin Doucette and the driver of the 16 machine, Joey Doucette's family. We'll see you all next week at Darlington, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.